Alright guys, welcome to another camera comparison test. This one is going to be between the iPhone 10 and the Samsung Galaxy S9. So first up, we're going to have some video to compare. Now this is going to be 4K at 60 frames per second on both, which is the highest that both can record. So you're getting that 4K quality, but with the smoothness of 60 frames per second. And I'm not actually going to compare these as we keep going, but I am going to say that I want you guys to take a look at these two, and then comment below which one you personally think looks best, and then maybe I'll do a follow-up video on just talking about those comments and what my thoughts about which one is better for the video. But yeah, you guys can listen to the actual audio of these clips now.
This brightness is up higher than mine, but... Oh, beautiful! Uh-oh, we're about to go inside. What's going on? Eric, get out of here. Who's Eric? Asian, quick coffee. Which one's smoother? Asian. Hard to tell. They're both about the same. Transitioning inside, guys.
Hey.
I guess it's about smoothness because we don't actually press stabilization. That's just pretty smooth. Might just cover you Uh-oh, we're going inside. How's this one? Follow this kid. Oh my god. I've been here before. I wish I could turn both these around at the same time. Yes, I can. I need that pen. Yeah. Yes! Go shot! You know what our official song is. I guess I'm recording this. Beautiful!
Come over here.
Alright, boys, I think we're going to call it a day. Can I record myself with both of these at the same time? Opposite directions. This is all. Oh. Look at that. I can't do that. Yeah, what is this? Which one are we? Are we A? Or B? No. Not really. Not at the moment. Not yet. We're doing a camera comparison test. This is the low light thing. I'd say it's alright. I have sunglasses on, but it's good.
Hi.
Yeah. We're gonna have to quit this soon anyways.
And so now we're going to move on to the photo comparison test. So like with the video comparison part, here we have the iPhone 10 photos on the left and the Galaxy S9 photos on the right. And so the Galaxy S9 photos are going to be, or right here at least, is more saturated, while the iPhone 10 is more natural to what it looked like. With this picture, I personally think that the iPhone 10 on the left is more natural again, more natural looking, and the right, while similar in sharpness and detail, the S9 just doesn't look as natural, different color than it really is. Alright, so this clip is going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to explain what that f1.5 means on the right. So the Galaxy S9 comes with an actual dual aperture rear camera, so it can change between the two mechanically, and that's really cool. And so the pictures that were shot with the 1.5, which is going to be used for the low light pictures on the S9, I'm going to have marked on this video, but if it wasn't marked, that means it was with the f2.4. And then of course, comparing these two photos, we have on the left a sort of darker, a dimmer image, and then on the right sort of a brighter, more detailed, more contrasted image. And those are going to be with the flashes from both the phones. but I'm gonna have to say that the S9 picture looks better here with that 1.5 aperture also. So this one would be also an f1.5, and then, but this is without the flash on either, so same picture but without the flash. And you'd think that the S9 would do better here, but personally I like the look of the iPhone 10 better, but they're both pretty detailed for being low light. And here's another low light shot, and there's that f1.5. Uh, the subjects did move a little bit, but I think I actually like the S9 one here better for whatever reason. They're both relatively detailed for being low light, and that's great. And I don't know which one's more natural, honestly. And here, both the pictures are pretty similar. We have that low light aperture again on the S9, and relatively good detail for it being low light. But again, the subjects, so a little blurry with that. But they're pretty similar pictures, colors and all. Here's another low light photo. Uh, Lights off in that room. Uh, the S9 picture is dimmer for some reason, not as much light as the iPhone 10. You think it should have more light in the Galaxy S9, but yeah, they still have decent amounts of detail, and I think I'm going to go with the iPhone 10 on that picture though. And this picture is just kind of stupid, and for some reason the S9 decided to use the wider open aperture, the f1.5, so I don't know how much of a difference it really would have made if it would have used the other, but they're both good pictures. It's very similar right there. This one's interesting because it's just kind of bland, and again, the S9, my phone, used the 1.5 aperture instead of the 2.4, and very, very similar images here. Slightly different colors, but they're both pretty good images for being low light. Both have decent detail, so good job with that. For whatever reason here, again, the S9, even though it was on that wider open aperture, it didn't, well, the picture wasn't as bright. Decent detail still, but I'm gonna have to go with the iPhone 10 on this one because it's just better lit and it still has all that detail there. Come on, Samsung. So onto some more low light. Uh, Now the lights were changing these pictures between the time I took them, so that's probably why the colors are different, the actual lights at least, but otherwise there is some different. I kind of like the S9 better, more detail I think, but yeah. This one, yeah, different colors again, due to lighting and just in general slightly different hues. I'm gonna have to go with the iPhone 10 on this one. This one's actually 2 times zoom, and that's optical zoom on the iPhone 10, so greater detail. And then the light, it dealt with the light better, the spotlight. So this picture we're going to be moving to the front-facing camera, and this clip's going to be a little bit longer again as I explain some things. Uh, the aperture on the S9 is going to be fixed this time, so no changes there. So all these front-facing shots, we don't have to worry about those little f1.5s or whatever. But between these two photos, the iPhone 10 doesn't have as wide angle of a camera lens, so it's much more zoomed in. But they both have decent detail. It is more blurred on the S9, so I'm going to go with the iPhone 10 on that one. So here, there's that 1.5 again. Both very detailed pictures. I don't know why I cropped the S9 more, but uh, yeah, those are really close pictures, colors and all. But this one is pretty interesting. Another low light shot, and I honestly think that the S9 is more accurate here with color representation, and they both have decent detail for being low light, but I think the S9 is more natural. Maybe a little smoother because they smooth things out a lot of times with in that processing. But yeah, here's another low light, kind of. The S9 clearly has a much more brighter subject in this picture, which, it's okay. The iPhone 10 still has great detail, and they're both good pictures. I don't know which one I like better on that one. Here's an interesting thing. This is portrait mode, or each phone's version of portrait mode. Uh, Neither one has great edge detection, but they both are pretty highly detailed, and they do both blur the background. But different colors again, slightly different takes on, uh, yeah, color reproduction. Here, again, slightly different takes on color reproduction, but they're both similar, highly detailed. The S9 looks like it saturates more than the iPhone 10 again, which I think Samsung tends to do with their cameras, and you can see that again in this picture if you look at all the greens and even the blue, but these two pictures are actually really similar. They both have pretty good detail. The sky looks pretty similar too, actually, and I like both these pictures quite a bit. Onto the, ooh, cool effect, onto these flowers. I honestly don't know which one's more accurate here with color representation, but again, they're both good pictures. It was nice, bright day, good light let in. I'd probably have to go with the iPhone 10 here. Just, I like better overall, and yeah. So this one, it's a weird picture because you got all the reflections and glares, and there's more of a glare in the S9s, and I don't know why that is, but I think for that reason I prefer the iPhone 10s because it just captures this subject more, yeah, it doesn't stand out as much, that glare, so I like that one better. These are pretty dang similar, just again, the S9 looks a little bit more saturated in the yellow of the hat, and otherwise, detail and everything, sharpness, it's basically the same. Uh, these pictures are very similar. The colors actually are pretty close, and if I didn't know any better, I'd say that the left one was the S9 and the right one was the iPhone 10. And I hope that's not actually the case and I screwed up, but yeah, they're really similar pictures. So here again we have that closer up shot from the iPhone 10 front-facing camera. Uh, Pretty good detail from both, considering the low light and stuff from both. Uh, I might actually like the S9 one here better. More accurate representation and everything. Great face in the background there, but here's another front-facing shot. Uh, the S9 might be a little blurrier, yes, but both are very similar in colors, like the exact same. And but I'm gonna have to go with the iPhone 10, more detail, clearer. This one again, very similar colors too. The sky looks a bit different. The grass might look a bit different on the S9, but I would go with either one for looking natural and either one in general because they're both pretty good pictures. Uh, so these again are very similar. Both have good detail and stuff. Both pretty color accurate. I'd say the sky is. I couldn't tell you which one was more accurate, but yeah, the sky both are very similar. And yeah, we have an indoor shot here down the hallway, and both are pretty sharp and stuff for the subject's moving and stuff. But I might have to say the S9 is more accurate color representation on the right. So yeah, this is just closer up. I don't think I zoomed. I think I was just closer. Both are very good detail again, but again, I think I like the accurateness of the S9 better out there on the right. This is a dumb picture again, but um, the iPhone 10 seems to over sharpen that image a bit. Actually, I do think I actually like the S9s better in this one. Uh, it's not quite as sharpened, and I like that. So here we're gonna have this still image again, like in the last video, so that I can give you some more details on the actual specifications of the two cameras. Uh, First of all, we have the iPhone 10, which rocks a dual camera system actually on the back. I did not actually mention that at any point during the video, I don't think, but it does, with the primary camera being a 12 megapixel with an f1.8 aperture, uh, and the secondary being a telephoto lens, which helps with that optical zoom 2 times image, and it also helps with the portrait mode effect, that depth of field, that blur bokeh effect, if you must. Uh, and that secondary camera has an f2.4 uh, aperture, and then on the front it has a 7 megapixel f2.2 camera. Uh, and so comparing that to the S9 of course has that dual aperture camera on the back, which is a 12 megapixel sensor, and then the aperture of course can change between 1.5, f1.5 and f2.4. And then on the front we have an 8 megapixel sensor, and that has an f1.7 aperture. So compared to the iPhone 10's 2.2, that's quite a bit of difference there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the S9's is better. And it does have a higher megapixel count than the iPhone 10's front-facing camera, but that also doesn't necessarily mean that the S9 takes better pictures. As we could see uh, in that comparison video, as the iPhone did come out on top in some of the front-facing ones. And the rear-facing cameras, of course, comparing them side by side spec-wise, they are pretty similar. They're both 12 megapixel sensors. All three are 12 megapixel actually. Uh, but they both have a 2.4 aperture setting somewhere in there. The telephoto, the secondary lens on the iPhone 10 being that, and then on the S9, of course, it being the default, one of the default settings for the single lens setup. Being able to switch between the 1.5, which is a slightly wider aperture than the primary 1.8 of the iPhone 10, but yes, it's actually the widest aperture on a phone when it came out at the time, that 1.5, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool that you can switch between the two. It does come in handy. The low light shots do tend to be better, as that aperture does allow more light in. But overall, both these phones are great phones. Uh, but that's overall, that is a story for a different day, performance-wise and stuff, different videos and stuff. But let me know if you guys want me to do those or whatever. But yeah, overall, they're both great cameras. Uh, Video and photo-wise, they're both great cameras, and they're two of the best phones on the planet, still currently to this day, and with two of the best camera setups on a phone to this day. So if you guys are looking for a new phone, these both have great snappers, shooters, cameras, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, they both take some pretty dang good pictures. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked it. Um, Shout out to Adrian out there who wanted me to do this, and who was kept pestering me about it, like asking me if I was done. So I'm finally getting it done, which is good. And yeah, make sure you guys subscribe. Click that red subscribe button. Click that notification icon. It's the bell icon by the subscribe button. Tell your friends to watch. Like the video, of course, and then comment below which 4K at 60 FPS video you liked better, and let me know if you want me to do a video uh, discussing what you guys and what I think about that, just the 4K video comparison. And yeah, thank you guys. Peace out. Oh yeah, and if you guys wanted to know who won the camera comparison test, uh, well, that's really hard to say because, like I just finished up this whole thing saying, They're both great phones, great cameras, and the iPhone 10 wins in some categories, on some pictures, and the Samsung Galaxy S9 wins on some others. So I'm gonna have to call this one a draw. So there you go. Of course, let me know about the video thing because I was mainly talking about the photos there. But yep, thank you guys again. Peace out.